Good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream. I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our Hood Recovery Services. You can reach me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Let me repeat that, recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the just for today in a meditation. I don't know the topic, but God in each other. That looks good. One aspect of our spiritual awakening comes through the new understanding of our higher power that we develop by sharing another addict's recovery. Basic text, page 52. We've heard it said that we often see God most clearly in one another. We see the truth of this when we practice our 12th step. When we carry the recovery message to another addict, we sense the presence of a power greater than ourselves. And as we watch the message take hold, we realize something else. It's the message that brings recovery, not the messenger. A higher power, not our own power, is the source of the change that begins when we carry the message to a still suffering addict. As the message does its work, transforming the life of another addict, we see a higher power in action. We watch as acceptance and hope replace denial and despair. Before our very eyes, the first traces of honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness begin to appear. Something's happening inside this person, something bigger and more powerful than either of us. We're watching the God we've come to understand as at work in someone's life. We're watching the God we've come to understand at work in someone else's life. We see the higher power in them, and we know with greater certainty than ever that this higher power is in us too, as the force driving our recovery. Just for today, as I carry the message of recovery to other addicts, I will try to pay attention to the power behind the message. Today, as I watch other addicts recover, I will try to recognize the God in them so I can better recognize the God in myself. I think that's beautiful. I think that's true. I think it's beautiful. I believe that I'm amazed when I'm doing the service work. When I'm doing the service work of the 12th step, I am amazed at how inadequate I often feel to be in a position to help another person on that level. And then I am equally amazed at how if I exercise faith and I move forward and I open my mouth and I allow my being to be the vessel to carry the message, I'm so amazed at how it impacts that still suffering addict. I want to make sure that we understand that this 12th step, carrying the message to the still suffering addict, is not necessarily a using person, even though it can be. Right? It's not necessarily a person that is actively using, but it can be. And I'm sure when they wrote this, they had that in mind. But I just want to say that it's so much easier I want kind of like give leeway to other people to exercise grace and forgiveness with other people than it is with ourselves. And so if you believe that, then you probably also have seen the truth in the fact that it's easier to see God more clearly in other people, in dealings with other people than we oftentimes see in ourselves. I'm always amazed when I think about Mother Teresa And I read a book about her, um, kind of like a biography, um, autobiography. I'm trying to think, more like a biography. I think her nurse, her assistant, wrote it, but it was about the last year and a half of her life. And Mother Teresa admitted that she had never felt more distant from God than during that time. And so sometimes when we're going through a storm, no matter how spiritual, we see ourselves as being, a lot of times when we go through a storm, there still is that why me, right? That why me? Why am I suffering like this? And it challenges our faith. And so I just want you to think about that today, that the God that you see more easily and more clearly in the lives of other people, I believe, and this isn't for everyone, but I believe that you're in a position of viewing, right? You're in a position of being able to stand back and look at the life of other people, right? Even if you're interacting with them, you still get an opportunity to look to see how the God of your understanding is operating in their life, or the God of their own understanding is operating in their life. You get that privilege to view that, to witness that. And through the viewing, through the witnessing of that miracle, I want to say it's a miracle, um, your own faith increases, your own understanding of how powerful and loving and caring your God is increases. So I just want to share that with you today. I hope that as you move through your day, um, you will be able to see acceptance and hope replace denial and despair in your own life, that you will have the spiritual awakening of the 12th step, and that it will be the type of awakening that is full of faith, full of love, full of hope, full of acceptance, full of kindness, full of joy. And it will be the type of awakening with those attributes, those spiritual principles, where it can carry you. It can carry you through times when you want to be dishonest, but you choose to be honest. When you want to be closed-minded, but you choose to execute open-mindedness. You decide to be willing instead of shutting yourself down and in denial and not willing to participate in your own recovery or the recovery of other people. This is a very important reading. I could go on forever, but I'm not going to. I just want to wish you a beautiful July 7th, and I will talk to you tomorrow.